In the opening scene, we see a 30-year-old and single Melina introducing herself, complaining about her dislike for her body. Melina works for a publishing house as a temp and a writer for those who can't write for themselves. Melina prepares for her weekend date with Donato, the editorial director at where she works. He intends to separate from his wife. Her roommate Stefano suddenly opens the restroom door, causing her to fall to the ground. He's unhappy that she's trying out remedies to suddenly lose weight because she's about to see a man. He tries to talk her out of getting her self-esteem freeze dry by Donato, but Melina wouldn't have it. Later, Donato picks her up and they head to a nice hotel he booked before their weekend getaway. Melina feels uncomfortable unveiling her bare body when he asks her to undress right in front of him. She makes funny dance moves that Donato finds strange. He realizes she's shy and decides to facilitate the moment when he'll get down with her, but he's disappointed again because she refuses him from touching her the way he wants. He doesn't understand why a beautiful and smart woman like Melina doesn't like sex. Seeing that she's not willing to watch porn to get her in the mood, he turns to lie on the bed and bid her goodnight in disappointment. The next morning, Melina returns home moody. She informs Stefano how she messed up her date with Donato and now he thinks she's not sexy. Stefano is focused on his phone and paying her no attention. She decides to have a taste of the cake he prepared for breakfast, and to her surprise it tastes really good. She takes the entire cake to her corner, ignoring his warning that he laced the cake with weed. She gets into her room. She picks up her laptop to look up porn sites just in case they can help her out of her predicament. She continues feasting on the cake and the effect is beginning to kick in as she's beginning to see things. It looks like the human toys on her bed are engaging in sexual like what's displayed on her screen. Suddenly, one of the porn stars from the video knocks on her screen requesting to come help her out if she needs a hand. She shuts the monitor in fright and falls asleep almost immediately. The next morning at the office, Melina walks beside her boss holding a cup of coffee for the lady. She talks her boss into consenting for her to start up a new story as she intends to be a writer, but her boss is not interested in listening to her. Melina feels downtrodden as she receives the instruction to serve everyone coffee. She feels underappreciated. She gets back to the boardroom and places a few cups of coffee on the table quickly as the others are beginning to show up. Donato walks in and lightly touches her wrist, asking her to sit for the meeting. As soon as they all settle in, Lara, a content creator and influencer, walks into the boardroom in style and dressed in quite a colorful outfit. Along with her is her manager, Serena. Melina's boss introduces Tommaso, the company's press guy. At this point, Donato completely ignores Melina's presence. They start discussing and Lara informs them she would want the novel to be focused on herself and all the obstacles she has encountered. The boss assures her that she's at the right place, and unlike the award-winning authors who don't make much sales, their ghostwriters are good at what they do, which brings in lots of sales as their books fill up the counters at most supermarkets, gas stations, and the like. Donato introduces their best ghostwriter, Melina, and assures Lara that she will be the one handling her story. Melina stares at Donato, completely lost in thoughts, until he urges her to say something. After the meeting, Melina calls Stefano to complain about the cake he made. She ends up revealing her intentions to give Donato another chance because she thinks he's hot and he believes in her. Not to mention that he's a book lover, which makes him a catch, but she doesn't know what to do. She thinks of ways she could sexually get involved with him, but she's in the office. Stefano advises her to wink at him like a horny anime girl or just photocopy her boobs and send them to him. Melina prefers the second idea and she quickly exposes her boobs to make a photocopy of it right there in the printer room when Tommaso walks in. He's startled and almost falls to the ground. She lies that she's running a check just to get him off. Stefano, who's making mixtures while still listening over the phone, advises her to make the image in color. After making a copy of her boobs, Melina walks into Donato's office and hands him the image. He finds it interesting as he teases her sexually. She finds her way under his table in an attempt to perform a blowjob session just like she had watched in one of the porn scenes. He relaxes to enjoy the moment while she is contemplating how she'll go about it. Suddenly, a lady appears beside her under the desk. Melina jerks in shock, seeing the lady from the porn video giving her tips in reality. She touches the lady to find out if she's real or if something is wrong with her. The lady, Valentina Nappi, reveals that she got summoned by Melina, which is why she's right there with her. Melina whispers for her to leave, and just then, Donato comes to inquire why she's stalling. She realizes that he isn't seeing the other lady, and in a state of confusion, she makes some excuses to hurriedly leave his office while Donato wonders why she's jittery all of a sudden. Melina rushes into the restroom to wash her face, hoping she will stop hallucinating or something, but to her surprise, as soon as she raises her head, Valentina is standing right there with her in the restroom. Melina thinks she's still under the influence of Stefano's cake, which may be why she's seeing things. Now she believes Billie Eilish is right when she said pornography destroys one's brain, because she has indeed been watching too much of it. Valentina informs her that she's in her head and she's real. She takes the scared Melina's hand and leads the way to one of the toilets, claiming they are going to see Melina's self-esteem. To her surprise, she steps on the WC and the wall opens like a door, revealing an empty room covered in fog. She finds it funny because she thinks she'd find her mother comparing her to her skinny and married sister Maria. She gasps, suddenly realizing that she needs to be at her sister's event. She arrives at Maria's event and takes a seat to watch her sister sing with some group of kids. Her mother, Grazia, hands her pineapple, noting that it's good for weight loss. Grazia points at Maria's brother-in-law Marcello and suggests to Madalina that they will look great together as a couple if only she'd lose some weight. She then reminds her mother that Marcello broke up with her on Christmas Eve, so there's no going back for them. Just then the vicar's father, Massimo, comes to take Grazia away. Once again Valentina appears from nowhere, placing her legs on Madalina's lap while observing Grazia and the vicar. Madalina is not in the best of moods, so she walks away from Valentina. Maria and her husband, Giuseppe, soon make a toast to Marcello's forthcoming wedding, and Grazia reminds her daughter to include Madalina. All through the baby shower, a guy has been staring at Madalina. Leonardo finally walks up to her to start a conversation. The duo ends up chatting outside away from the others. In the course of their conversation, Madalina realizes he's a friend of her brother-in-law, and he is formally invited to the party even though he looks like he just strolled into the event. They soon discover they are both the black sheep in their families, and things seem to hit off well between them. Leonardo passes his cigar for her to smoke and invites her to a bar that will be having some cool event in the evening. She accepts the invitation and soon bids him bye to head home for the night. Madalina walks down the path when she stumbles upon a sexy-looking image of a lady on a signpost. She stops for a minute to gaze at it, and the image suddenly comes alive. She confesses to the lady that she just wants to be sexy like her. Valentina instantly appears, inquiring why Madalina thinks she's not sexy because she'd have sex with her. She drags her by the hand, offering to take her to someplace. Valentina opens the door, leading them to a world of porn where women are sorted into categories. She takes Madalina through each category of women as she reveals to her that no matter how a woman looks as a result of her physique, race, or age, all women are beautiful and sexy. Madalina is stunned to see some big and beautiful women looking gorgeous. The next day, Madalina searches through her closet but can't find anything nice she can wear, so she approaches Stefano, pleading with him to go shopping with her. She convinces him that she's not going for the regular shopping, and Stefano agrees to go with her. In the changing room, she tries out different sexy outfits, and she almost has a heart attack as Valentina appears out of nowhere without any warning. She compliments how she looks in the gown and offers to teach Madalina how to be sexy if only she will learn how to love herself. Stefano calls for her and she runs out to show him how she looks in the outfit. Almost all the men in the store pop their heads out, staring at Madalina in her sexy pink outfit. In a bid to shut Valentina's voice, she asks to come with Stefano to go party with his friends because he doesn't take her out. They arrive at the location where his friends are, but it's not a club as Madalina expects. They all compliment how hot she looks and invite her to come play with them. Valentina appears and urges her to take the compliments and excuse herself to go attend her date elsewhere. Madalina arrives at the Club El Altrove to honor Leonardo's invitation. She finds a table to sit at and she soon begins laughing at the comedian upstage. Leonardo gets on stage for his turn, and she starts feeling comfortable watching him perform on stage as he makes everyone burst into fits of laughter. After the comedy session, everyone begins to mingle and Madalina stands at the bar stand waiting for her drink to be served. A guy picks interest in her on seeing how enticing her backside is in her dress. He invites her to come to join him outside where he's drinking before walking off. Leonardo comes to join her, requesting for the bartender to add to his tab whatever drink she takes. He appreciates her for coming and suggests they take a walk, which she finds more comfortable. He asks that she wait outside for him while he returns to pack up his things. Madalina gets outside to see a group of guys, including the one who was admiring her earlier. They are all talking to her in ways that she doesn't like. The guy notices her presence and comes to apologize on behalf of his friends. Luckily, Leonardo walks out to join her. He puts the boys off and completely ignores them as they express love for his performances on stage. The duo takes a walk down the path, chatting about her career as a ghostwriter and her type of men. Leonardo bursts into laughter as she describes what her type is. He confesses he will have to steal her type of man for his next performance. He informs her that some writers from a comedy TV show will be coming to watch the comedians at the club, and just maybe his dad, who has been ignoring him, might just take him seriously if he sees him on TV. Leonardo shares how he started stand-up comedy thanks to his father, who used to push him to church even though he was getting bullied. Everything changed for him the day he got angry, took the mic from the priest, and started saying stuff that got everyone laughing. Madalina laughs hard as she listens to his story. Then she receives a text from Donato. She takes the cue and bids Leonardo goodnight as she needs to get up early for tomorrow's work. Valentina appears and joins her, recalling her description of her type of man. This makes her smile shyly as they head back home. The The following day at work, Melina puts on a skimpy skirt and stands seductively in front of Donato's desk. He comments on her dress and wants her to continue what she started the other day. Valentina appears and queries her for feigning ignorance about what he's talking about. Suddenly, her boss pops out, instructing her to prepare Lara well, as the company intends to announce the book at the publishing fair. Later, Melina arrives at Lara's house. She welcomes her and shows her around her abode. After settling, Melina gets down to business. After the session with Lara, she gets on the elevator chatting with Leonardo, who is fast becoming her friend. Valentina appears in the elevator wondering why it's almost as big as a studio. The ladies get talking and Melina confesses how amazing it must be to be accepted, admired, and desired by everyone, just like Lara. Valentina doesn't think Lara's life is so great to be admired. She offers to show her if that is what she wants. She taps the elevator and they are suddenly transported to a place that looks like a dollhouse where several women are picked by men. She is awed to see her sister and other women she knows getting picked by men. Valentina urges her to go get picked and suddenly she finds herself in one of the boxes having her name on it. Melina watches in disappointment as Donato comes towards her but he passes her and continues searching. Valentina walks over to her, advising her to pick herself and become an active subject, instead of a passive subject, who is waiting to get picked by men. They get back to Melina's room and as they are scrolling through photos of guys she can pick from, Stefano comes requesting to use her straightener. They continue their search until they find the perfect guy. In the course of Melina exploring her potential, she confesses that she feels confident, invincible, and most importantly sexy. Valentina smiles, knowing that she's doing a good job helping Melina overcome her dislike for her body, while also building her self-esteem bit by bit. However, her hopes soon get dashed as soon as Melina reveals that she's ready to face Donato again. She stumps her foot in annoyance, wondering what he's got, that she doesn't want to let him go and chase after other exciting men. Melina walks into her office the next morning looking super hot and sexy. She feels extremely confident, but as soon as she sees the other women, her confidence vanishes. She begins comparing herself again. Valentina attempts to talk her out of comparing herself to others, but she won't listen. She runs off to meet Erica and Tommaso and takes their bags after they finish discussing. Melina pushes the trolley down the hallway when Lara and Serena come to her, asking what she's expected to do with a book given to her by Mariano. She notices that they are dressed in the spa's robe, so she simply tells Lara to read and advertise it on her social media page, like she does with products. Lara is terrified on hearing that she's to read the book. In a second, she begs Melina to summarize it for her because she doesn't have the time to read it. She agrees to help her with it but murmurs about having to do that as soon as Lara walks away. Malika, who runs a small publishing house, comes to introduce herself. She hands a book published by her to Melina and offers to help her publish it in her name if she is willing to write something like it. Malika asks that she give her a call whenever she intends to write it because she can perceive that Melina is a ghostwriter and has the potential to do more. She jumps up in excitement hearing that if she decides to write for this lady, it will be in her name and not someone else's. She walks down the hallway in her search for Mariano. She sees him looking so hot in a towel wrapped around his waist while struggling with his room's door. Valentina appears and starts giving her ideas, but she takes it slow as she requests for Mariano to attend Lara's book launch. He sees how flirty she's acting and he wouldn't want to turn down a fine woman. So, he hands her his towel, also watching as she takes it with her, walking away majestically. Valentina praises her boldness. Later, when the book launch is about to start, Melina walks to the guy with the guest list, and to her surprise, her name is not on the list. She's almost losing it because she is the one writing the masterpiece and she's being denied entrance to Lara's book launch while her colleagues are inside. Donato hears her voice and he quickly comes to the rescue. On getting in, Lara sees her and beckons on her to come take photos with her alongside Erica and the others. Erica blatantly refuses for her to join them despite Lara insisting that she join them for the sake of her contribution to the book. As Melina moves closer, she hears Erica say demeaning things about her and her dress sense. Instantly, all the negative words she's been hearing about herself start replaying in her head. Melina loses it and starts talking back to Erica. Donato tries to interfere, advising her to behave, but this only makes the situation worse as the audience is already taking videos of the scene. Melina lashes at Erica in provocation and walks out, giving her the middle finger for saying she's fired. A while later, Melina walks into the bus carrying her mother and some other members of their church who are all embarking on the pilgrimage. Her mother snatches her phone from her, demanding that she desist from using it while they are on the pilgrimage. She believes her daughter is addicted to her phone and she needs to stop her. Upon arriving at their destination, Melina stops to catch her breath, but her mother insists she must not stop while others are moving. Else the lady of childbirth, whom they are going to pray to, will not bless Maria and it will be difficult for her to go through labor. She snaps at her mother for trying to make an issue out of her trying to take a break. The ladies get into an argument, causing Melina to reveal that she's now unemployed thanks to her mother always sabotaging her self-esteem. Grazia is taken by surprise at hearing her daughter. She quietly turns around and continues on her journey. Madalina angrily drags Valentina to go with her up the mountain. Gaisip sees Madalina and calls for her. He introduces her to Leonardo and the two pretend they've never met each other. He runs off to meet his wife, leaving the duo to chat. Madalina is surprised to see Leonardo there because she isn't expecting him to show up. While the others gather for a rosary prayer, he urges her to get into the car so he can go show her something. He directs her with her eyes closed until they get to the destination. Upon opening her eyes, Madalina screams for joy seeing the statue of Father Pius, whom she describes as her type of man. She gazes at the statue beaming with joy, thanks to Leonardo. Afterwards, they take a stroll and he invites her to attend the audition where he will be on TV. After the pilgrimage, Madalina gets back to town with Leonardo while the others take the bus back. Maria returns her phone, wondering if she missed the bus on purpose in an attempt to avoid their mother. When she gets back into Leonardo's car, her phone starts buzzing with notifications, leaving her wondering what's going on. To her amazement, she's getting lots of followers on social media, thanks to her rant at the fair, which someone put up online. She and Leonardo are in shock seeing that she has gone viral. Soon a message from Donato pops up on her phone. The next day, Madalina walks into Lara and Serena at her now previous place of work. Lara feels bad for what happened to her and apologizes for everything. She invites her to her private party to celebrate a new makeup line that she will be representing. The ladies make up and Madalina decides to think about the invitation. Madalina walks into the office to meet Erica and Donato. Erica shows her the gifts sent to her by brands after she went viral, and now she's requesting for them to bury the hatchet. She informs her that she will have to remain fired, but it's only because they want to give her an exclusive offer to write a book of her own. Valentina advises her not to believe them because it seems they intend on using her, but Madalina already finds the idea to be a fascinating one. She comes back home excited to share the good news with Stefano, but she meets him packing his things. He's moving in with his boyfriend Giacomo. This is when Madalina takes note of the guy sitting like a statue. She apologizes for never paying attention to him, but she didn't know he has finally gotten in contact with the one guy he has always dreamed of. He bids her goodbye, promising to come pick up the rest of his things within the week. Madalina is having the best time of her life as she goes on to upload videos of the products sent to her by different brands. She steps out in style to Lara's party where she meets with Mariano Di Veo, a celebrity who is beginning to like her. Valentina wonders why she's faking happiness around him when she doesn't even like him, only for her to realize that her attempts are just in a bid to make Donato jealous. She receives a text from Leonardo reminding her of his audition in an hour. He's still hoping to have her around, cheering him on. It's time for Lara to make her speech and unveil the makeup line, but instead, she unveils her relationship with Serena as she grabs her for a kiss while the audience cheers. Seeing how admirable they look together, Erica grabs Tommaso for a kiss as well. He lifts her off the ground and takes her away from the prying eyes of everyone. Donato approaches Madalina and offers to buy her a drink, but she stylishly walks away from him, leaving him to come chase after her. Valentina reminds her that he's married and it will be better if she just finds a single guy, but Madalina refuses to listen to reason. Donato catches up with her and suggests they go to his place since his wife has left the house. Madalina does some touching up on her face in the restroom while Donato is calling out for her. Valentina appears, but this time, she's pissed at her for sabotaging herself. She drags her to come to see what her self-esteem has become. The fogs are gone, but her self-esteem has become a cage because she's now dependent on other people's opinions. The ladies get into an argument and Madalina reveals that Valentina is just afraid that she'll vanish because she doesn't need her anymore since she's happy now. Right before her eyes, Valentina fades into thin air. She gets back into the room making out with Donato as they both catch their breath. Leonardo tries to reach her, but she doesn't pick up because she's engaging in a moment of bliss with Donato. After the bout of Madalina realizes that his wife didn't entirely leave, but she only went out for the weekend with her girlfriends. She picks up her things and leaves Donato's house in disappointment. Madalina comes to the club to meet with Leonardo and apologizes for not coming earlier. He doesn't want her to worry about it. Besides, the night didn't go as well as expected. He realizes that she is now a different person than she used to be. He stares at her for a few minutes, then turns down her offer to grab a beer and stroll down the street. She watches him with sadness written all over her face as he takes leave while she's still there. On getting home, she looks through Valentina's porn video, but nothing seems to change. She wonders where Valentina has gone, but unknown to her, she is the one who can no longer see Valentina, who is sitting right in her room amid tears. Madalina lays on her bed in exhaustion. She takes her phone to check out the notification she just got. In a split second, she runs out of her room after reading the text from her mom saying her sister is in labor. She arrives at the hospital bearing gifts, and Gaisip comes out of the ward to inform his in-laws that he needs to go grab his other child. Madalina sits with her mother outside the ward. The mother and daughter discuss at length and they soon reconcile their differences, with Madalina realizing that all her mother ever did was simply out of love and care for her. The vicar comes to the hospital and Grazier runs to meet with him. Madalina watches as her mother acts like a little girl in love around the vicar. She finally accepts that Valentina has been right about her mother and the vicar. Unfortunately, she is no longer with her. Madalina joins her sister inside the ward, and while chatting, she is surprised to find out that Maria once had a time in her life when she smoked a joint. In subsequent days, Madalina spends her time writing and babysitting her nephews. Donato quits working. Madalina spends more time thinking about her life and the changes she has experienced in the past few months. Her book finally gets published and she launches it at the club where Leonardo does stand-up comedy with her friends. Her family and some parish members are in attendance. Erica and Tommaso also attend her launch. Madalina acknowledges everyone who has been a part of her journey to fill up her self-esteem. She openly apologizes to Leonardo and requests to have a drink with him afterward. In her speech, she thanks every single person who has been a part of her journey to self-discovery. After her speech, Madalina drags Leonardo to the restroom and the duo make out right there. They prevent the others from making use of the restroom when Giuseppe and his wife come knocking. They end up in her room panting for air after a hot sexual session. When Madalina goes to grab a drink from the kitchen, she is surprised to see Valentina handing her a drink. She cheers her on to go on another round with the man she's in love with. Madalina thanks her and gets back to explore more intimacy with Leonardo while Valentina gently fades away. At the party, Grazia goes around sharing her daughter's book while everyone else is having fun and dancing to the jam blasting through the stereos. Days later, Madalina walks around a store she and Valentina once visited. She decides to step in, but to her surprise there is Valentina and people are queuing up to see her. She screams in excitement, causing a scene and insisting that she misses Valentina, who has stopped showing up. However, Valentina dismisses her and tells her to stand in line like the others. The bouncers had to come to carry Madalina outside as she struggled to go meet her guardian angel.